So, in order for Amber to be awarded damages in her counterclaim, she just needs to prove that Johnny knowingly caused that bruise on her face by throwing a phone at her, and that he has been acting with malice by saying that this whole thing was a hoax when he knows that he has been violent towards her in the past. Because for me, like, this whole the monster idea, like him saying that he doesn't remember these things, I don't believe it. I think he has more awareness of what he does. I don't think it's always a blackout based on what they've both said. It doesn't seem like he's always blacked out. He has more memory of these fights than he's letting on. And like sometimes people like say that poor Johnny because he married someone who's like his mother, but the way I'm seeing it is that he just became his mother. Like, if you look at the evidence of his verbal abuse and his track record of like trashing hotel rooms and smashing things, the video that she presented where he's like kind of going like he's throwing stuff around, like that's something that he's been known to do. His ex testified that he threw a wine bottle near her head. And maybe like with this time, like the phone thing, like maybe it was just poor aim. And I think that's what everyone believed at the time. They believed that he maybe did accidentally throw something in her direction and that it hit her and caused that bruise. And but they were also thinking, but isn't she kind of being an opportunist, like gold digger, to make a big deal about something like that, like an accident? Why is she going out of her way to accuse him of domestic violence? How's he being a domestic abuser if this is all it is? And I understand that perspective, but she's saying, I'm not a gold digger, I'm not a liar, that this has been an ongoing thing for a long time, and she's given her evidence now. But I'm just wondering, like, has Johnny denied causing this bruise? Because he said there's things where he said that bruise is painted on. And if he can prove that he knowingly caused that bruise, then shouldn't she win? And there's things where his mother taught him, like, if anyone invades your world, like, what you do in response is you pick up a brick and lay them out, whatever that means. Like, it just seems like he knows what he's done, and he's just mad at Amber for telling the truth about him. That's how it's reading to me. There have been numerous text messages where Johnny blames his behavior on this monster thing, and he is always apologizing to Amber, and it makes it seem like he's the more physically abusive one between the two. There's no clear-cut evidence, but it just seems to be that he takes more responsibility. And like there's stuff that he says, like, you have to admit that he is doing something in these physical fights. When things escalate to being a physical fight, he is doing something. And he says stuff like the way he wears things, like how when we fight, little girl, like this is the exact language that Amber described in her stories. And maybe she combed over these things and manufactured a story that makes sense, but this is how he speaks to her. He is like, when we fight. And there's stuff where he's like, I am well aware I should have been bigger than the moment. And he doesn't explain what he does. Amber gives her side of the story. She says, I slap him, then he does this, this, and this. And it's like, does he remember those times when Amber slaps him? And what does he say he does in response? Because it doesn't seem like there's only those few times where he explains his side of the story, like the head-butting thing. Maybe he manufactured this story. I don't really believe the way he's described it. It's just all very fishy to me. He's not giving enough detail. It just doesn't sound right. Whereas Amber's stories sound more specific and they make a lot more sense to me. And there's also this audio recording which they played to the jurors where he said that if he doesn't walk away from an argument, there will be another bloodbath. What does that mean? Like, who's causing the bloodbath? Like, I think it's proof that he's doing it. Because if he keeps saying he's responsible for, because if his mother taught him to pick up a brick and lay someone out if they invade your world, if she instigates a fight, I think he has the urge to fight back. And that's what Amber said in that recording, that the main recording that everyone talks about, is like, tell people that it's a fair fight between you and me. And then she's saying that she was scared that she would lose her life because of what he does in response. And that's why she asked Io to call the cops during that fight where he hit her with the phone, allegedly. So it just seems like he has more recollection of these times, but he's just saying that he doesn't remember when he remembers a lot more than he lets on. I'm not sure how other people interpret these messages between his friends, where he's saying, like, his friends are mentioning things that seem pretty fishy to me, like this whole thing with the beaver, like, which is slang for vagina, and he's saying stuff like, you could poke/punch. What is that? What movie is that in reference to? I don't know. What's that joke about? Because it seems to be hinting towards the stuff that Amber's alleging that Johnny does to her. So I'm wondering if he knows more than he lets on. Like, he's aware of everything. He doesn't black out like he says, and he knows everything he did. And he's just not, he just will never admit to it. Like, he will never admit to doing the stuff that Amber said. Because who would? Like, you would never, because it's incriminating stuff. So he would always say, I don't remember doing that. But then you see all these jokes to his friends, like, saying that she will hit the wall hard, like, and then like this thing where we have to prove that he's acting with malice, like saying that Amber's lying about everything. And I think they read out this thing about how she's begging for global humiliation, she's gonna get it. And at the end he's like, she will hit the wall hard. I can only hope karma kicks in and takes the gift of breath from her. Sorry, man, but I will stop at nothing. That's proof of malice. And the whole, she will hit the wall hard, is he talking metaphorically or is it literally? Because there are those tapes where he is talking to Amber about fights that they've both been in, and she said that, he says that he pushes her away, like his self-defense, I pushed you away. And she says, no, you pushed me really hard to the wall, and you say, oh, do you not like the wall? Like, he taunts her with it. Like, he hits her, like, he pushes her to the wall and saying that she hits the wall hard. It's not a joke. It's literally, it's based on something that has happened before. And otherwise, how do you explain what they've said in those audio tapes? But anyway, just to prove that Johnny did cause that bruise on her face when she went to get the restraining order, I'm going to refer back to this thing where he said, Amber is calling this domestic violence. She submits a picture that says I threw a phone at her. And then he goes, I have never been charged nor arrested for domestic violence. I'll just keep referring back to that quote. Anyway, so here I want to point out how he said the festival and her friends were clearly more important than working things out with me. So I'm confused. Like, I thought he broke up with her. He didn't want to work things out. I thought he dumped her for good. Like, he threw his ring away and he was done with the marriage. But then he was hoping for her to work things out with him. That's a little bit confusing to me. That brings some doubt as to what's the truth with this guy. Did he really break up with her? Like, did he want to fix this relationship? What is he talking about? And then, like, saying that he's kind of threatening her, saying that she will perjure herself if they go to court, and saying that they're going to reopen that Australia dog thing again, which is like, it's a threat, like, it's financial abuse because she can't pay that. She doesn't have enough money to pay for these things. So he's saying that, I don't know what he wants her to do, if he wants her to take it back. Like, I don't know. I'm just confused by what he means by this. He said all this to her dad. But yeah, it seems like they're threatening like financial abuse, so it makes him look a little bit fishy. He said, "I'm not so angry, though the injustice is clear. I did nothing of the kind of what she is spouting off about." And then later on he goes, "I left her that night because she got physical and wanted to take a few choice swats at me." So does that mean that the thing is, like, they were both there, they were both at that place at the same time, but he's alleging that Amber hit him? Well, what's his full story of what happened? Like, I'm just kind of confused by his version of events. Like, it doesn't seem to add up to me. They were both in that place at the same time, but he's saying that Amber hit him, and then that's why he left? Or there's that phone conversation afterwards where Amber's emotional, and he said that you told Io to call the cops. And that's what Io was a witness to this whole thing and heard over the phone what happened. So it just makes Amber's story seem more credible, and it makes it seem like he knows what he did, but he's just lying to whoever this person he sent this stuff to. He's lying to them, saying that he didn't do anything, when it seems like he knows he did something. I hope that this text exchange is in the evidence, because it's kind of damning to him that he did cause that bruise on her face, because he sent something to Amber's mother saying, "I did not throw her phone at her. I was facing away from her to walk away and lobbed it over my shoulder. I had no idea that she wouldn't just catch it or it would land on the couch. And then, of course, Rocky comes to the rescue as if I am some goddamn psycho beast." Right. So it just seems like he's downplaying the situation. When you hear what Io said about him, like, when Amber said that he hit her with the phone, and then Johnny's like, "Oh, you think I hit you? You think I hit you? What if I pull your hair back or whatever?" Like, that makes it seem like he knows what he did. He ran away after Amber said, "Call the cops." That's the conclusion that I'm getting. Otherwise, why did he run away after Rocky and Josh Drew, I think, came over? That's when he ran away, and that's why he wasn't there when the cops came. So that seems to be what you conclude from all of this. I don't know what he's trying to say. Like, it just seems like he did throw the phone. And the only question is, like, if he's denying he threw the phone at her face, then that just seems like a lie to me at this point. I don't believe that Amber is the violent person in this relationship. I don't believe that she threw a vodka bottle at his hand. Even when he's, like, texting his doctor about this stuff, like, he keeps going on about how Amber's being mean to him, like verbally abusive, insulting him, the educational rants, and like lecturing him about sobering up. Like, that's the thing that he says is the most hurtful. He's not talking about Amber hitting him, and he says, "I cut the top of my middle finger off." How easy would it be for him to say, "She cut the top of my middle finger off"? How easy would that have been for him to say? And that just makes it seem like she's not responsible for doing that. And he's just placing the blame. He's saying that she is the violent one, when I'm not seeing any concrete evidence of Amber being the violent one in this relationship. But I'm seeing so much evidence that he is the one that's the aggressive one of the two. So I don't see how people could side with him after everything that's gone down. When you look at Amber's text messages to her mother, it doesn't seem like she's a liar. Like how she said, "I can't tell Dad. He's nuts, Mom. Violent and crazy. I am heartbroken that this is the man I love." And then, like, to go into like what she means, like she's saying that it's okay, Mom, he's not being violent with me, he's just raging in general, and the crazy mood swings are hard to handle, and she ends up by saying, like, her heart is broken. It's okay physically. JD didn't hurt me or anything like that last night. I told him that would be it if he did, and that worked. But I'm scared by what I see, and who I see now is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on a binge. He makes Dad look like a saint when he falls off the wagon. She's being that honest about everything. She's saying that he didn't hurt her. He's just raging in general. He's trashing the hotel room. Kate Moss is in the room and police question him about him. He said that I've never been charged nor arrested for domestic violence. He's been questioned about it when it came to Kate Moss in the past, because he caused all this damage, and he blamed it on an angry armadillo that was never found. Okay, and I don't know if she's Kate Moss, the whole thing about him pushing her down a flight of stairs. I think she's testified that he didn't push her down the stairs, but there is that audio evidence of Johnny admitting to pushing Amber, and he may downplay it and say he's just doing it for self-defense. But you do know that he did push her in those fights that they were both involved in. So How are you gonna trust this man when you ask him he gets asked a simple question are you bigger than her physically, and he says he wouldn't say that. What's wrong with him? Just say yes, you weirdo. Is he just a pathological liar? Just a simple question like that, he can't say yes, I'm bigger than her. How can you trust anything that comes out of his mouth? And all these things, there's all those text messages where he's apologizing for stuff, and he has a lot to apologize for, just verbal insults. So you can say that that's all it's about, but I think there's enough evidence. And the whole thing about Amber is calling this domestic violence, this picture of the phone that he threw at her. I think you can prove that he threw that phone at her, and then saying, she's the one that has the record, I don't have the record. There's so many reasons why he doesn't have a record. He can buy his way out of this stuff. There's NDAs with his exes. There's ways that he can get away with doing domestic abuse and never be charged for it. He threatened Amber to not take it to court in the first thing, in 2016. He said, let's just write a mutual letter and not take it to court. And he threatened her. Financial abuse is it's not going to be good for you if you take it to court. And that's how he got away with it the first time. And that's why he's never been charged or arrested for domestic violence. There's a first time for everything. I just think there's so much evidence that he knowingly knows that he hit Amber, and him saying on the stand that he has never struck a woman in his entire life with all that evidence is crazy.